Hello and welcome to the Night Feed. I'm your host, Charlotte, here to bring you some comfort, camaraderie and conversation and keep you company during, let's face it, one of the toughest parts of being a new parent, the Night Feed. Tonight's unpaid sponsor is the Danger Nap. I am sure I have spoken about the Danger Nap on this podcast before, and if you are a toddler mum, you will know that any nap after 3 p.m. constitutes as a danger nap. And my youngest had one of these yesterday. After a busy old day at the park, I thought, yes, we're walking home at 3:30, but we'll make it. And we didn't. And her little head started to droop in the pram as we were 5 minutes away from home. Even though the whole walk, I was like, look at that blue bin, look at that green tree, look at the... Was that a fox? Was that a lion? Was that a tiger? It did not work. And you know what? It would have been mean. It would have been mean for me to keep her up. She'd been up since 6 a.m. So I let her have a danger nap. And I got home and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to enjoy a coffee. And my eldest watched something on the telly for a little bit. I'll just enjoy this time. I'm 8 months pregnant now. And Jason was at home working from home. He said, literally just put your feet up for this minute while she's asleep. Just have this time. And one side of my brain is like, but bedtime will be at 11. And the other side of my brain was like, I need to chill. And I took the chill. And it's funny because I Googled it. I don't know why I did this, but I Googled 2-year-old nap after 3. And a Reddit forum came up. And it was someone that had basically just posted that their toddler had fell asleep at like 4. What do you reckon? And the first comment was, anything after 3 p.m. is classed as a danger nap. May God have mercy on your soul. And comments underneath that one were like, I concur, totally agree. Oh my goodness, bedtime's going to be crazy for you. You know, like fear-mongering. But then underneath, I saw another comment which said, don't waste the nap stressing. Just go replenish and unwind. And when she wakes up, enjoy the break and routine and do something you usually can't do because she has to sleep early. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to take your advice. And we did. She had a nap. She woke up refreshed. And that evening I said, let's have a movie night. So we put the laptop on the bed. We put a Disney film on. And they snuggled into me. And I thought, you know what? This is actually really sweet. We don't do this often. And it's something they'll remember. And yeah, a break from routine isn't all that bad. So here's my little reminder to you. If you are living in fear of the danger nap, one little break from tradition and one little break from routine is not going to harm you. And she actually went to sleep at about 8:30, so it wasn't all that late. There you go. Before I dive in tonight, I just wanted to ask a quick favour, and that is if you're enjoying the podcast, would you hit subscribe or follow wherever you listen? And if you could even leave a review, that would really help. And if you know any other new mums or you have friends of new mums that you could spread the word to, I would also hugely appreciate it. The whole point of this podcast is helping you new mums through them vulnerable hours and those times when you question whether you're doing it right, whether you're the only person up feeding in the middle of the night. I know how that feels and it is lonely. And yeah, I just want it to be a helpful listen. So the more people that know about the podcast and hear about the podcast, then the more people I'm effectively helping, hopefully. Coming to you on this lovely sunny Wednesday, we are having more work done in the house. And it seems the more you do in an older property, the more problems you uncover. So I'm tucked upstairs recording this as floorboards and all sorts are being ripped from under me. And I daren't look. And it would come at 8 months pregnant, wouldn't it? But hey, hopefully this will be all done and dusted for the arrival of our baby boy. So if, like me, you are pregnant and renovating, I feel you. Keep that end result in mind, even if your sofa is in your kitchen and you're living out of your bedroom, we will get there. I had a few emails from you lovely listeners this week, all saying that you love the new Confessions of a New Mum section. So you'll be pleased to know I've done some digging and found some more. You may relate to them, but ultimately they're here to make us all feel a bit better. So let's dive in. First one, I have to make what feels like a mum fail confession. I don't think I'm one of those mums who is instantly crazy about their child. I loved him immediately, but it has taken most of a year for me to gush about my beautiful little boy and feel connected to him. And I actually think this is a really important confession or topic to talk about. I wouldn't really class it as a confession in a way, because I think this emotion is a lot more normal than people think. Personally, I was fortunate enough to get that overwhelming gush of love when I met my girls, what you dream about. But I know, speaking to other mums and from what I've seen online, it is normal to have a little bit of a detachment for some people. And I think it's really important that if you're going through that, you know that it will come. And I thought this comment was really nice, actually, that says, it's okay. Loving your child is an action at first. The feelings are nice and all, but for a lot of people, they come later. Don't worry about it and don't feel guilty. You love your child by taking care of them. And I thought that's actually a really good way of looking at it. If you are struggling, you are loving that baby by caring for that baby. Because caring for a baby takes every ounce of your being in those first few weeks and months. And that is an action of love. And another comment said, don't feel like you're failing. I felt this way too. I didn't truly connect with my daughter until she was talking and we could converse at age 3 or so. She is now 7 and one of the most brightest, kind-hearted little girls I've ever known. And I love being her mum. And somebody else has put, I think when we have our first baby, we're still clinging to our old life. It's just natural. Then when you have your second child, you've already accepted your new mum life, which is why you're so much more relaxed with the younger child. All of this contributes to the birth order characteristics, I'm sure. How interesting. There you go, birth characteristics. Now, I know there's a really interesting book on that, and I'm tempted to read that and do an episode on it, because I think we'd all find it quite interesting. But yeah, coming back to that feeling of connection, if that is something that you are struggling with, because like I said, those first weeks and months are very difficult. And if you're not feeling that connection, you could feel like part of you's failing. And I'm here to tell you you're not, because I've seen so much on this and how common it can be. So don't give yourself a hard time, and remember that will come. You're just dealing with a lot right now. So I found another post, which is another confession in a forum, and it's a few confessions. And this mum has basically said, I need to get some things off my chest that make me feel like a bad mum, even though I know I'm not, and it's all okay a lot. Number 1, I leave the TV on most of the day, whether we're actively watching it or not. It's usually on educational baby/kid shows or Billie Eilish music videos. My little one loves to listen to them all day. I've noticed it helps him stay focused on tummy time more. Next one, I let him sit in his rocker in the kitchen with me and cry for a few minutes the other day while I did the dishes. He'd been crazy all day and nothing I did helped. So that was the last resort and I hated myself for it, but I had no other option. So I actually have heard that this is the advice. I remember a midwife said to me when I had my first, if the baby's being particularly fussy and you are at the end of his tether, put them in a safe place, whether that's the cot or the rocker, and let them cry while you have a minute. It's not going to do them any harm, as long as you can still see them and they're okay. Obviously, it's distressing hearing your baby cry. You don't want that. But at the same time, you have to look after yourself for a minute and have a breather so that you can come back to the situation calm. So I don't actually think that is a bad thing. And then the next one is, I let him have independent playtime while I sit on the couch behind him and play with our puppies or read Reddit posts / listen to podcasts. Again, I think that's absolutely fine. Independent play is important. So these confessions aren't all that bad. The next one says, I hate, that's how it's written, with a lot of A's, how demonised TV is. I don't get it. My lovely, stubborn, smart daughter had a speech delay and decided she wanted to recite the educational songs from Songs for Littles and Word Party one day. She has been talking ever since. TV obviously ain't all that bad, lol. I agree. Some of the phrases my oldest comes out with, I'm like, where have you got that from? Like, she'll say, "You're most welcome." I'm like, that's the wise old elf off Ben and Holly. So I think it depends what you put them in front of and how often. I don't think TV is all that. I've had many conversations on this podcast about it. We all grew up with it. It's just because screen time is categorized as screen time now, and we're all like, "Oh, how much screen time?" But it's like, as long as they're not sat in front of it all day and they're watching something that's age appropriate that you agree with and that you like, then fine. Someone else has put, "I feel like a horrible mom, but we have co-slept since my 15-month-old was 3 months. Her crib is currently used to hold laundry." Same, sister. Same. I'm not going to get into the whole co-sleeping debate on this one, but a comment underneath says, "This is completely normal in every other fucking country besides the US and UK, so don't feel bad." Yeah, I'm not going to get into that whole rabbit hole, but co-sleeping definitely saved me. And I know it's what they do in the East a lot. And I know in the West, we are told, put them in a crib, obviously for safety reasons, but yeah, it's a whole debate for another day. But for me, co-sleeping saved me. And I don't really see that as a confession, especially if you're doing it safely and following the guidelines. That's what I always say. So I hope some of these give you a taste of what we all get up to on the daily, and to know that you shouldn't feel bad. As long as you're doing the best for your baby and for yourself, then you're doing fine. And there is a lot of perfectionism out there when it comes to motherhood. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. This is how to parent, this is how not to parent. There's so many fear-mongering videos on TikTok about screen time and about, how long they do this for and what milestones they're reaching. And it's like, geez, Louise, like, we don't need all that pressure. So tune out from it and just know that you're doing great. Next tonight is your emails. So let's dive straight in. First one, potty training help. Hi Charlotte, I've been listening to the pod since my little one was 10 months. He's almost 2 now and I'm feeling so much pressure to potty train him from relatives. I don't think he's ready and I don't want to battle. Any advice would be so appreciated. Can I just ask, thank you for writing in, can I just ask, are these relatives older by any chance? Because for me, I have this with older relatives who still have PTSD from the terry towel and nappies back in the 80s or the 70s when you had to wash the nappies. And I think that generation were basically like, let's get them out of nappies. And you know what? I don't blame them. I do not blame them. Imagine having to wash the nappies. So I get where they're coming from. But we are a different generation. I also don't think it's right to keep your child in nappies at school because I know that is becoming a lot more common. Unless they have a disability or a problem, of course, then that's a different matter. But your child is not 2 yet, so almost 2. I think you do what is right for you. You can train them at 6 months, like Catherine Ryan. I think she's a comedian who I absolutely love. She trained her children at about 6 months, and she would just put them on the potty, and she had that time to sit with them when they were that age, have quite a few accidents, but train them. And she believes in early potty training. Then you get other people who wait till around the age of 3 when they can communicate and when they can talk to them. And they find it a lot easier because the child is ready. And I think the best advice I can give to you, like I always say, is parent how you want to parent. You will know. You sound like a good parent who is just concerned. And you know in your gut when your child is ready. Yes, you can go for it at 2. You can go for it at 3. It's when you think you're ready. I tried when my eldest was 1 at one point. And then I thought, you know what? For me, it wasn't the right time. I was also pregnant with my second, and I was like, yeah, I don't have it in me to do this right now. So I waited a bit later, and I waited to a point where she could talk and communicate. And I just did like 3 or 4 days intense in the house of not having a nappy on, because that's what the health visitor said. She said if you put pull-ups on them, they won't get that sensation of wetting themselves. So take the nappies away, make a big fuss about big girl knickers or big boy pants, and do it that way. And yes, there will be a few accidents, but it's surprising how quickly they pick it up. It really is. I had a little box with rewards in. So every time she even went on the toilet, I gave her a little something to say, well done. I did not stress at all if there was accidents. That's really, really crucial, I think, is you can't get annoyed if there's an accident. You can't put stress on them, because the minute they feel that, they might develop a bit of an anxiety towards it. So it's always very calm. Make sure you're in the right headspace. Make sure it's a good week for you to stay in for a few days. And I tell you what, by the second day or third day, we were out picking new knickers, and we just took the potty in the boot. And she was like, yeah, she told me when she wanted to go. It was actually a very smooth process. So I think the best advice is not making it a battle. I think when you're ready and the baby's ready or the toddler's ready, you go for it. And don't let anyone else talk you into doing stuff you're not comfortable with yet. If you don't think your almost 2-year-old isn't ready to potty train, then that's fine. There's loads of advice on it online. Like I said, I think leaving it till school age is too late personally. That's my opinion. But when they're a toddler and when they're ready and they can communicate, and you have a few days you can set aside to go for it, that's my advice. Because I think when you don't fully go for it and you go back and forth with nappies in the day, they're not going to get it. They're just going to be like, oh, we're in a nappy today, I can do what I want. Oh, we're in knickers state, I can't wet myself. I think it's being clear and having that communication with them so they don't get anxious or they don't worry about it. And if there is a little accident, which there will be, you can clean it up and not make a fuss. And I think someone said to me, do it in the summer months so that they can just go around in like a t-shirt or something, so you're not constantly washing loads of clothes. But yeah, that's my advice. I hope that helps. Don't let other people put pressure on you. I always come back to this. Don't let other people put pressure on you, and go with what you think is right. Now the next one. Now this one isn't an email. It's a forum post that I thought was quite funny. And it says, what is something that surprised you about yourself since being a parent? The first post says, today I ate a Cheerio I found stuck on my 11-month-old's thigh after breakfast. It was so quick and impulsive, and it wasn't after I swallowed it that I realised how batshit that is. And someone else put, I caught myself eating some cracker crumbs my 2-year-old daughter had left on a chair the other day, right in front of some guests we had over. Why I ate it, I don't know. I've definitely done this with food on the table, thinking it's something the girls are currently eating when it's absolutely not. And it's like some old fluff or something. I mean, what is that? I don't remember ever sitting at a table pre-kids and picking up crumbs to eat. Why are we weird now? Someone else has put, I love baby bogies. I get so excited to grab a big snot that comes out with a sneeze, or when I finally pick out that dry, crusty thing that I was eyeing in the nostril. And then someone's put, I don't know what it is, but it's just how comfortable we are with gross stuff when it's your own kid. Absolutely. Someone else put, I was changing my baby's diaper today and I was wiping her butt when she just projectile pooped right into my hand. I immediately said, uh-oh, you're so stinky, and then went to wash my hands. I now realise from this post how gross that was and how okay I was that happened. Parenthood is weird. And then finally, sharing water and drinks. I always thought baby backwash was so disgusting, but now it doesn't even cross my mind. There you go. Basically, the moral of that post is that we're all a bit disgusting now we're parents. Next tonight is what's trending. I saw a post from the Unplanned podcast with a guest called Dr. Julie. And I thought it was quite interesting what she said. So here's a kind of summary of what she was talking about. She said, a woman's mental health is never more vulnerable than the first year after you give birth. If you think about it, she says, if you want to really wear a person down, you mess with their routine, you take their sleep, you isolate them from others, and you mess with their diet. And after a woman has had a baby, all of those things are monumentally affected. And then society questions why women are struggling. And she said, yes, a woman is built to have children, but modern society is set up to ignore those things. And it really struck me listening to that, because I think when you become a mum, it's almost like, well, yeah, that's what you do and you get on with it. But like this Dr. Julie says, your sleep, your routine, isolation, everything is being kind of either taken from you or forced upon you in like an overwhelming way. And even though, like I always say, for me, it was the most wonderful thing. Becoming a mum has been my absolute calling. That doesn't mean to say there's not been tough times. And those first few weeks are isolating. They are scary. They're vulnerable. You know, you're in pain still from whether you've had whatever birth you've had, you're going to be in pain. You're bleeding. It's like standing up can be difficult. Going to the toilet is difficult. And you're learning to breastfeed if that's what you're doing for the first time. Then you get the baby blues like 4 days in, and it's just kind of such a beautiful but challenging time. And you can completely understand why your mental health that first year, even more, is going to be impacted. And it's a really important conversation to have, definitely, because I think key to this is communicating about how you're feeling. I think we can all be a bit, we'll suck it up, we'll get on with it. And this is how it is. When actually, if you are low and you are struggling, you have to communicate. And a lot of the comments actually on that post were, I wish my husband understood this. And I'm very fortunate that Jason gets it. He gets how vulnerable those first few weeks and months are. But if you've got someone who doesn't, I think that can add to the challenge. So communication there is absolutely key. And it's, even if you recite these statistics, even if you say like, this is my most vulnerable point in my life and I need support, I'm not moaning because I'm a moany cow. I'm moaning because this is overwhelming. And just talking and communicating can save relationships. It can save those problems, and just your partner knowing what you're going through, especially if you're one of those people that goes, I'm just going to get on with it. I'm going to get on with it. I'm going to be fine. We'll be fine. And then you have like silent meltdowns on your own. It's important to get the help and communicate. And even if you speak to your mum or your good friend or your partner, whoever, it's okay. It's okay to have moments, and it's okay to feel these things. And just coming back to what Dr. Julie said, remember that your sleep's been taken away, your routine's been taken away, you're isolated. It's like a recipe for feeling low. So yeah, it's just, I just saw that post and I thought I'm going to share that with you guys, because if you are feeling that, then either get some help or make sure you are communicating with those closest to you, rather than it all just coming out in a big ball of rage or a big ball of emotional meltdown. Get that conversation going that, yes, this is tough. And yes, I need to speak about it. And like I said, even if it's just reciting some stats that you found on Instagram and telling them this is what the stats are, and being scientific about it. But yeah, that's just my little reminder if you are feeling like you need a little bit of extra help or you're feeling a little bit low. And now this self-care tip actually links in to that post. So I'm in my little self-care book again, and I came across a page called The Baby Blues. And This says, no matter how you birth your baby, you are likely to have moments when you feel rather fragile as your body begins healing and your birthing hormones settle. On top of this, you have a tiny human who needs your care around the clock. Tiredness can play a huge role in making you feel overwhelmed. There is a reason sleep deprivation is used as a form of torture. After the first couple of days with a new baby, it is very common for new mums to experience a bit of a slump and feel quite low. Mums often mention to us that they are feeling very emotional but don't exactly know why. This is likely to be the baby blues and affects about 80% of women to some extent. So here's some of the symptoms: irritability, exhaustion, tears that can be euphoric or terribly sad, mood swings, overwhelmed by everything, a lack of concentration, changes in appetite and ability to rest. So, as with every issue to do with your mood, there is absolutely no shame in feeling the way that you're feeling, and talking about it with your partner, a friend, a midwife, a health visitor, or a GP can help a lot, even if it's just to get a bit of reassurance. So this is what the book is saying. It says the baby blues will usually pass within a few days. By the second week or after your baby's arrival, you should feel a little bit more control again. In the meantime, try the following ways to give you a little pick-me-up to reassure you that you will be okay. So here's a few little ideas if you are feeling low, even if it's not the baby blues, even if you are feeling a little bit low a few weeks later, just try maybe a few of these. So the first one is dim the lights and listen to some mindfulness, relaxation, or positive affirmation tracks. Number 2, create a playlist of music that anchors you into a calm state. Number 3, lavender bath. Add 6 drops of relaxing lavender essential oil to 1 tablespoon of full-fat milk or grapeseed oil and stir into a warm bath. See, I just have my lavender neat. My mum's an aromatherapist and I take it neat in the bath. But yeah, if you want to reduce it down a bit, you can add grapeseed oil. And number 4, keep visitors to a minimum so you have time to rest. 5, book for a postnatal massage so you feel nurtured. 6, ditch the caffeine as it can make you feel even more emotional and on edge. And finally, practice restorative breathing techniques. So they're just a few little ideas to help if you are feeling overwhelmed or low. And like I said, it might not just be the baby blues. It might be in general just having a bad day. A lavender bath always sets me right. I absolutely love a lavender bath. But yeah, just a few little tips if you are feeling low, and if you are as well, if you are in that first week when everything just seems completely overwhelming, remember that it's completely normal and don't beat yourself up. Finally, to finish on a quote I wrote: if you're up right now on the night feed, mama, eyes heavy and exhausted, pause for a second. There's a new version of you 10 years from now looking back at this exact moment whispering, slow down, breathe it in. The contact naps, the warm little body curled upon your chest, the way their tiny hand grips your finger. She misses this. She aches for this. That version of you doesn't care about the dishes in the sink, the laundry piles, or the unfinished nursery. She only remembers the way your baby smelled after a bath and the way they sighed in their sleep, the way you loved them. The nights feel never ending right now, but one day you lay down in a quiet house, in your own bed, and your baby, not so little anymore, will be sleeping in theirs. You'll wish you could do this just one more night like this. Thank you for listening this evening. As always, keep your emails coming in to the nightfeedpodcast@gmail.com. And if you could tell any new mums about this podcast as well, that would be amazing. I wish you all a restful, relaxing night ahead. Good night.